Wonderful Monday morning. Hello guys and welcome back to Barham Engines. Well, there's nothing better of a Monday morning to start the day off with a job that I've actually got to think about and be careful with. Not that I'm not careful with all the other jobs, but basically these are Alfa Romeo blocks from Bob Dove, the chap that brings all the old Alfa stuff in. And what he wants to do is, I think he's putting an external oil feed into the mains. So he's supplied me with a nice long drill, nice long series drill, and I've got to drill through here into the centre of the main. He has drilled up through from that end, so I've got to drill down into that oil weight. Then I've also got to go from the other side here and drill all the way through that main and into the centre of that oil gallery that goes inside the block through here. So got to be a bit careful, and it means setting it up at 90 degrees either side, which is not easy. As I say, Monday morning I'm never very good. Got to get my little brain working. You see, we've got the other block down here that we've got to do the same to, and then also he's been very, very patient with me, bless him, but I've got to do these two blocks here. Now, the one block is the one that I did the helicals in to true all the studs up, and I think that is that one. So what I've got to do is he's found an end plate that doesn't quite match over there. So that is the end cover for the timing chain setup, but it doesn't quite match and it's dowelled on. So what I've got to do is go round the outside of this block and just give it a little face, and then we've got to put the liners in and get them sort of about 2 or 3 thou protrusion on this block face. So that is the next job after doing the drilling for the other two blocks. And then this block is another story altogether. It's had extensive welding down there, and I think we've got to tidy that weld up basically. So that'll be another job after this one. I think I'll get these 3 out of the way. But let's go and get this block set up. Nightmare. So I think looking at it, what I've done is there's 2 bolts here which go in the end of the oil ways. I've took those out, so all we've got here is a couple of dowels which aren't going to be in the way, but then we've got a flat face here. We've got our 90-degree angle plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the other side of this main and bolt it flat to this face, so then at least we know that way it is 90 degrees, and then all we've got to do is just true it up that way. So I think looking at it, really that's about the best way to go at the minute, and then we can at least do this side. Then it's just a case of turning it round and doing the other side. Right people, the L200, the one that we've got over here in bits, the one that's come from a garage up country and had been built before. Remember in a previous video I sort of did a bit about the difference between engine recon and engine rebuild. Well, that one over there, we have not got the go-ahead on that, and I'm going to head back into the office and just tell you why. So the L200, little bit of an awkward situation really, as I said in a previous video. So we've got the thing in bits. Just to recap in case any of you haven't watched the previous video, this is a case of the engine has been rebuilt before, and when I say rebuilt, it has actually been rebuilt and not reconditioned. So just to cut a long story short and give you a little recap on what's happened, a garage has sent this engine down to us. It had previously had an end go by the sounds of it. They sent it to a local reconditioners that they used. They rebuilt the engine and charged them sort of 1700-1800 quid-ish or something like that. Alarm bells sort of rang with me, because that sort of money you don't get an engine recondition. So they sent it down because it had started pressurizing once been rebuilt. They then sent it back to this company. They sent it back exactly the same. So they then sent it down to us and they wanted us to investigate the engine. So
We stripped it, could see no real signs of, obvious signs of it blowing a head gasket, although it was giving head gasket sort of symptoms, but they didn't face the block. Once we got sort of measuring and looking in amongst it, they'd faced the head, they had deglazed the bores, set of rings, it was on a standard bore, so they definitely hadn't rebored it. It looked like it had a new crankshaft to me, so whether that's 1,700 quid including a crankshaft. The problem we got is we said, look, it's quite a sort of complex engine, as in, you know, from a builder's point of view. So now it's stripped. Really, as an engine reconditioners, we don't do rebuilds. Like I've said to you guys before, rebuilds could be anything from sort of rebuilding with a few new bits to taking it to bits and putting it back together with all the old stuff. So it's a real grey area rebuild. Whether the garage was sort of under the illusion that they were getting a reconditioned engine, I don't know. But it turns out I spoke to the garage, give them the sort of bad news, as really, as an engine reconditioner, we can only do it one way, and that is to recondition it. So although it has had new bits, and the sort of the initial issue had been solved, as in the knocking of the crank, but you've got this what looks like a head gasket symptom, with it pressurizing the system good and proper. So I said, look, we don't do rebuilds, we'll only do it properly. We only can do it properly. You know, we have to look at every job from a warranty point of view, same as the reconditioners that did it should have, really. I've given them a quote. It's, you know, getting on towards £3,000 plus the VAT, really, to do it properly. I mean, now it's the bits, although it's had new bits, we have to fit all new bits. We can't put, they're now sort of second-hand bits, so if we're putting a warranty on it, it has to be all new bits. We can get engine kits for fairly sensible money of good quality, you know, but it has to be rebored. You have to polish the crank. You know, really, we should be regrinding the crank, but it is a brand new crankshaft and it looks perfect. So even if we polish the crank, it's got to be rebored, reface the block. We've got to strip the head and go through it, because the valves, it may have been redone, but it doesn't look like it has to me. It looks like it's been faced. So yeah, that's the sort of money. So really, we've sort of given them the bad news. We did speak to their customer, who it turns out is a sort of friend of the garage owner. So it was a bit of an awkward situation. He was more interested in the time scale, you know, and we said we could turn it around fairly smartish, but yeah, it's a very awkward one. We did email over the sort of estimate on it, and the owner, I think it was the garage owner, rang back and spoke to John, and he didn't sound very happy. He said, we're not going to go ahead with it. Send us the bill for what you've done and we'll pay that and we'll come and get it collected. So yeah, we don't like to fall out of anyone. We hope to God they don't think that we've tried sort of ripping them off and charging them for things that haven't been done. It's just from a company and a warranty point of view, it has to all be done properly, unfortunately. Bit of a shame, really. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I feel a little bit for the garage owner, because I suspect that he's organised getting the build done in the first place, and now it's sort of backfired, and I don't know what happened with the company that did it, but obviously there was sort of no comeback because they sent it down to us. So yeah, bit of an awkward one. I'm really sorry for them, but that's the only way we can do it, unfortunately. It's another reason why you should really be careful when you're getting a quote, whether off us or anyone else. Make sure that you're getting an engine recondition and not a rebuild, if that's what you think you're getting.
Absolute result with this, I forgot that this is the block where I can get the studs out of, so rather than go down with a epoxy end mill with the studs protruding, I can just literally put it on here and face it like I do a cylinder head. So as you can see, this end cover's a bit proud here, probably about 10 thou too proud, maybe not quite that, but we should just give it a face so this all flush and we make sure we've got a nice even face, and then we can get them liners in and start getting the liner protrusions right. So you can see there where it's just started to clean on the block face and onto the cover, so that's about a 5 thou cut. It's actually not as proud as I thought it was, but you can see it's only sort of started to clean here and on the other side of the block, so the block is fairly warped, really. We have cleaned the face of the block. I've had a word with Bob, and you've got two sort of dings there in the front cover. I think he's going to just sort of chemical metal those. The trouble is, if we start taking them out, we need to take about another 10 thou off the block, and you don't really want to do that because it's had some off in the past. So basically we've had all that extensive welding and repair down the bottom there, and I've put so what I've done now is I've put the liners in. I've took about 10 thou off this block face, don't know how much it's had off in the past. I've put these liners in. These are the new liners that are going in, and now what we want to do is we want to end up with about 2 or 3 thou protrusion of the liner compared to the block face. So these liners have got to stick up about 2 or 3 thou. I've put them all in. What I do is I stick a straight edge across, feeler gauges either side, and again this way, and just sort of see how much we've got. And it works out that these are pretty even. So the base of the block is dead even to the top, which means when the liners are in, they don't either go up or down like that. But it works out that I need to take about 8 thou off each one of these liners. We've got about 11 thou protrusion average. So we've took 8 thou off these two. We've put the straight edge across, feeler gauge, and we've got about 3 thou there. It's sort of very difficult because although they are a good fit, you do get a very slight bit of rock. So but I've worked it out that we've got about 3 thou there, and I'll show you what I do to clock the liners in. So we've just put the clock up to the front of that liner, and by sheer chance it's running absolutely perfect on that DTI gauge. So what we're going to do is do one 4 thou cut and then another 4 thou cut, and that is all, hopefully, all it needs. Touch that on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wind it off, then another 4 thou. And with a bit of luck, that should be perfect. That's the day with the Alphas all done. We've got the 3 blocks here, which I've done today. We've got the 2 with the drillings into the oarways, and we've got the one in the middle. This was one that I originally did the stud threads down the base of the block. The studs were all a bit skewy, so we had to plug them and re-drill and tap them, etc. Done that, we faced the block, done the liner height, so those 3 are ready to go. All we've got left now is the one on the end there, the one with the welding in the base of the block that we've got to sort out, but I'm going to wait for Bob to come in to confirm exactly what we've got to do on that jobby. Well, hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, comment down below if you want. See you on another video. You take care. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the weather.